we're going to be looking at some quadratic problem solving. I'm going to work through some of the problems with you, and some of them I will help you set up. So the first four have to do with rectangles. So let's read number one, the length of a rectangle. So it helps to draw a picture. We have a rectangle. The length is 2 times its width. So the width would be x, and to make it 2 times the width, that would be 2x. The area of the rectangle is 72 square inches. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. Well, we know that the equation to figure out the area for a rectangle is base times height. So here we have the base and the height. So we can do the base times the height, and that equals the area of a rectangle. Well, x times 2x is 2x squared. Now we have a quadratic equation because here you see the x squared. That makes it quadratic. If you look at this, the b term is missing, so we have to choose a method to solve this. Since there is no x term, the easiest thing would just be to solve for x at this point. So x is not by itself, it's being multiplied by 2. So if we divide both sides by 2, that would be x squared is equal to 36. X is still not by itself because x is being squared, so we take the square root of both sides, and x would equal plus or minus 6. So let's think about that. X is equal to the width. Can the width be a negative number? It cannot. That doesn't make sense. So the width is going to be 6. The question was find the dimensions. That means tell us what the width and the length are. Well, the width was 6. The other was 2 times 6, so that's going to be 12. So it is a 6 by 12 are the dimensions of the rectangle. So if you look at 2, 3, and 4, they are the same type of questions. Number 2, the length of a rectangle is 4 times the width. So we have 4 times the width. The area is 144, so we're going to set up the same way, where we do base times height, and that is going to equal the area. When we multiply these two, we have 4x squared. It is now a quadratic equation. You can decide which method you want to use to solve this. Again, there's no b term, so the easiest way would just be to solve for x. Let's see if you can do that. On number 3, I'm just helping you set these up. The width of a rectangle is 5 meters less than. So that would be x minus 5. X and x minus 5. And I should have my rectangle oriented the other way if I'm going to do that, because x minus 5 would be smaller than that side. So we'll do it that way. Nevertheless, what do we know? The area, this isn't going to let me erase. Travesty. The area is 84 square meters, so we do base times height is equal to the area. We have the distributive property. We have x squared minus 5x equals 84. We have a quadratic equation. So now you can decide how you want to solve it. You could put it in standard form and you could factor. You could use the quadratic equation. You could in the current form and you could complete the square by halving and squaring and adding to both sides. But I'll see if you can take it from that point. I'm going to help you set up number 4. The length of a rectangle is 1 foot more than twice the width. 1 foot more than twice the width, and the area is 55. So again, if we do base times height, we have x times a binomial, 2x plus 1, and that is equal to the area. So if we do the distributive property, that would be 2x squared plus x equals 55. So again, you're going to decide how you want to solve this. You can put it in standard form, and you can factor it. You can complete the square. You can use the quadratic equation. You decide which method you want to use. Now 5, 6, and 7 have to do with consecutive integers. So if you remember a consecutive integer, We call x the first integer. Consecutive means counting up by ones. So if the first integer is x, the second one would be x plus 1. And the next one would be x plus 2. Well, that's writing funny. The next one would be x plus 3. These are consecutive integers. So what this says is the product, which means we're going to multiply two consecutive integers. So here's the first two consecutive integers, and we want to multiply them. So that would be x times x plus 1 is, there's your equal sign, 56. So now you can do the distributive property, and you will have a quadratic equation. And let's go ahead and do one together. X times x is x squared. X times 1 would be 1x. And then we have 56. I'm going to move the 56 to the other side and say negative 56. You choose a method. I think I'm just going to use the quadratic factoring, and think of factor pairs for negative 56, which would be 8 and 7, and we want a positive 1, so that would be x plus 8 and x minus 7. So our solutions are negative 8 and 7. So when it says find two consecutive integers, first we start with negative 8. We have negative 8, and the next number when you're counting would be negative 7. Now from 7, we also have to count consecutive integers, so it would be 7 and 8. So you have two sets of solutions there. Now the next two are also about consecutive integers, and I will help you set them up, but then you'll have to decide on one of your methods to solve it. The product, so we're going to multiply two consecutive odd integers. When you count by odd numbers, you're counting every other number. So the first number would be x. The second number would be x plus 2. I know 2 is even, but if x is 1, if you go up 2, you go to the next odd number. The next one would be x plus 4, and if you were counting up, that would be 5. So you can add x plus 2, x plus 4, and you're still going to have an odd number. So let's multiply the first two consecutive odd integers. That would be x times x plus 2. A number and the number 2 greater than that is, so we write our equal sign, 1 less than, that goes at the end, twice their sum, 2 times their sum. 2 times, sum needs to add, so we have to add all these together. X plus 2. 1 less than twice the sum of the first two consecutive odd integers. That's a lot. So we do the distributive property, x squared plus 2x on the left side. And on the right side, when you do the distributive property, we could combine our like terms here first. We have 2x inside. So we have 4x plus 4 minus 1. Here we have like terms again. That would be 3. So if we put all that together, we have x squared. We move the 4x to the other side by subtracting it, negative 2x. And we move the 3 to the other side, negative 3. So there is our equation in standard form. Now you can decide how you want to solve that. On number 7, the product, we're going to multiply two consecutive even integers. Again, we count x, x plus 2, x plus 4. So if we multiply the first two consecutive integers, that would be x times x plus 2. That's equals again, 6 more than 6 plus 3 times their sum. So 3 times the sum of the first and second even integers. So it looks a little bit like the last one. So you're going to do the distributive property. You could combine your like terms here first if you want to, and then figure out which method you want to solve it. I'm leaving some of this up to you. Okay, on 8, 9, and 10, we have triangles. So we're going to think of a triangle. These are going to be right triangles where we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So I hope you remember using a squared plus b squared equals c squared, where a and b are the lengths and c is the hypotenuse. the longer leg of a right triangle. So you can decide which one of these you want to be the longer leg. Hopefully not by the way I drew them. Is 1 meter longer than the shorter. So let's say this one's longer. We'll make it x plus 1 because it was 1 meter longer. The shorter is just x. The hypotenuse is 1 meter shorter, 1 meter shorter than twice the shortest leg. Find the length of the shorter leg. So now we do our a squared plus b squared. So now we have x plus 1 squared, which is x plus 1, x plus 1. We're going to have to FOIL that, equals c squared, which is 2x minus 1 squared, or 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. So when we solve this, we have x squared. Let's do our FOIL. We have x squared. We have 1x and 1x, which makes 2x, and then 1. On this side, when we FOIL, we have 4x squared. We have negative 2x and negative 2x. That makes a negative 4x and a positive 1. Now, you're going to have to get all this on the same side of the equation. On this side, we have 2x squared, and let's move it over to the other side. So that would be subtracting 2x squared. We have a, let me subtract 2x squared here. Here we have a 2x, so we're going to subtract 2x from this term and subtract 1. So when we do all of that, what do we have left? We have 2x squared minus 2x. Oh, minus 6x. Same signs, add and keep. Sorry about that. So now you have 2x squared minus 6x. Now you can do this by looking for the greatest common factor and pulling it out. The greatest common factor, that would be 2x. What is left? X minus 3. Now you can set both of these equal to 2, or to 0. 2x is equal to 0. So when you divide by 2, one of the answers is 0. And then when you do x minus 3 equal to 0, that side would equal 3. Well, it doesn't make sense for the side of a triangle to be 0. So x is equal to 3. That's the shorter side. That was a lot of steps. I'm just going to help you set up the triangles for the next two. So you have a triangle, right triangle. The hypotenuse is 3 less than twice the shorter leg. The length of the other leg is 3 more than the shorter leg. So here's your shorter leg. Again, we're going to do a squared plus b squared, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you're going to have to remember how to do your FOIL and then decide on a method. I'm just helping you write these problems out. Last question. The hypotenuse of a right triangle is 6 more than the shorter leg. So that's just x plus 6 or 6 plus x, however you want to write it. The longer leg is 3 more than the shorter leg. So that's x plus 3, and the shorter one being x. Again, we do a squared plus b squared, which is x plus 3 squared. So it's x plus 3 times x plus 3 equals c squared, which is x plus 6, x plus 6. So you now have to FOIL, simplify, and decide on a method. That's a lot, I know, but hopefully this will at least get you started on the problems, get you set up. Now you just have to remember the things you've learned about doing FOIL, combining like terms, and using one of your quadratic methods. All righty, good luck with that.